My name is Randall Hinton. Like you, I am a concerned citizen, watching our government drift far from its established purpose to protect and secure our individual rights. Never have our voices fallen more hollow, without effect in the halls of Congress than now. So similar and dire are our circumstances to that of the founders. I am amazed how they called repeatedly on Parliament and King for redress and found none. I would like to share with you these sacred words by Patrick Henry, one of our most passionate and revered founders, as he stood before the Virginia House of Burgesses prior to the commencement of the Revolutionary War, explaining these abuses, which in many ways mirror our own. Will you join with me as we draw upon his wisdom and foresight, armed with the Constitution they have given us, in the fight to restore our freedoms to this great land? No man thinks more highly than I do of the patriotism as well as the abilities of the very worthy gentlemen which have just addressed the House. But different men often see the same subject from different lights, and therefore I hope it will not be thought disrespectful of those gentlemen, if entertaining as I do, opinions of a character very opposite to theirs. I shall speak forth my sentiments freely and without reserve. This is no time for ceremony. The question before the House is one of awful moment to our country. In proportion to the magnitude of the subject ought to be the freedom of the debate. It is the only way we can hope to arrive at truth and fulfill the responsibility which we hold to God and our country. Should I hold back my opinions at such a time through fear of giving offense, I should consider myself as guilty of an act of treason towards my country and an act of disloyalty towards the majesty of heaven, which I revere above all earthly kings. Mr. President, it is natural for man to indulge in the illusions of hope. We are apt to shut our eyes towards the painful truth and listen to the song of that siren until she transforms us into beasts. Is this the part of wise men, engaged in a great and arduous struggle for liberty? Are we disposed to be of the number of those who, having eyes, see not, and having ears, hear not the things which so nearly concern their temporal salvation? As for my part, whatever anguish of spirit it may cost, I am willing to know the whole truth, to know the worst, and to provide for it. There is but one lamp by which my feet are guided, and that is the lamp of experience. I know no way of judging the future but by the past. And judging by the past, I would ask what there has been in the conduct of the British ministry over the last 10 years to justify the hopes which the gentlemen have been pleased to solace themselves and the House. Is it the insidious smile with which our petition has been lately received? Trust it not, sir. It will prove a snare to your feet. Suffer not yourselves to be betrayed with a kiss. Ask yourselves how this gracious reception of our petition comports with the warlike preparations that cover our waters and darken our lands. Are fleets and armies necessary to a work of love and reconciliation? Have we proven ourselves so unwilling to be reconciled that force must be called in to win back our love? Let us not deceive ourselves, sir. These are the implements of war and subjugation, the last arguments to which kings resort. I ask, gentlemen, sir, what means this martial array if its purpose not be to force us to submission? Can gentlemen assign any other possible motive for it? Has Great Britain any enemy in this quarter of the world to call for such an accumulation of navies and armies? No, sir. She has none. They are meant for us. They can be meant for no other. They are sent to bind and rivet upon us the chains which the British ministry has been so long forging. And what have we to oppose them? Shall we try argument? Sir, we've been trying that for the last 10 years. Have we anything new to offer on the subject? Nothing. We've held the subject up in every light which it is capable, but it has been in vain. Shall we try entreaty or humble supplication? What new terms shall we find which have not been already exhausted? Let us not, I beseech you, sir, deceive ourselves. We have done everything which could be done to avert the storm which is now coming on. We have petitioned, we have remonstrated, we have supplicated, we have prostrated ourselves before the throne, and implored its interposition to arrest the tyrannical hand of the British ministry and Parliament. Our petitions have been slighted. Our remonstrances have produced additional violence and insult. Our supplications have been disregarded, and we have been spurned with contempt from the foot of the throne. In vain, after all these things, may we indulge in the fond hope of peace and reconciliation. There is no longer any room for hope. if we mean to be free, if we mean to preserve inviolate those inestimable privileges for which we have been so long contending, if we mean not basely to abandon the cause in which we have been so long engaged, and which we have pledged ourselves never to abandon until the glorious object of our contest shall be obtained, we must fight. I repeat it, sir, we must fight. An appeal to arms and the God of hosts is all that is left to us. They tell us, sir, that we are weak, unable to cope with so formidable an adversary. But when shall we be stronger? Shall it be in the next week? Or in the next year? Shall it be when we are totally disarmed and when a British guard is stationed in every house? Shall we gather strength through irresolution and inaction? Shall we acquire the means of ineffectual resistance through lying supinely on our backs and hugging the delusive phantom of hope until our enemy has bound us hand and foot? Sir, we are not weak if we make a proper use of the means which the God of nature hath placed in our power. The millions of people, armed in the holy cause of liberty, and in such a country as we possess, are invincible by any force our enemy can send against us. Besides, sir, we shall not fight our battles alone. There is a just God who presides over the destinies of nations, who will raise up friends to fight our battles for us. The battle, sir, is not to the strong alone. It is to the vigilant, the active, the brave. Besides, sir, we have no election. Were we base enough to desire it, it is now too late to retire from the contest. There is no retreat but in submission and slavery. Our chains are forged. Their clanking may be heard upon the plains of Boston. The war is inevitable, and let it come. I repeat it, sir. Let it come. It is vain to extenuate the matter. The gentleman may cry, peace, peace. But there is no peace. The war is actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle? What is it the gentlemen wish? What would they have? Is life so dear and peace so sweet to be suffered at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take. But as for me, give me liberty or give me death.